So you want to hear a true tale from the annals of snarkdom. Very well. Gather around, young snarkonauts, and listen to this tale of infinite sadness, stupidity, silliness, and delusions of grandeur. Yeah, everyone gather around and listen, except for you. This is a tale that takes place back in the colonial days of Hong Kong. I was living in northern Hong Kong at the time, a little place called Shung Shui. It means above water. And barely at that, because at that time in northern Hong Kong, a lot of the smaller villages were surrounded by rice paddies, or they made rice, I should say. And of course, rice is made with a lot of poop. To get to school every day, I actually had to walk about 45 minutes to the train station. There was a small, very small sidewalk leading from the village I lived through another one called Dai Tao Lang. The sidewalk was about that wide. Wide enough for one person to pass easily, not two. So, as it would have it, I was 16 years old, very full of myself, and I was walking to school on a bright sunny day. Saw a person in the background, kind of walking towards me at the same time. Old man, very old. Now, in those days, if someone saw someone else passing on the sidewalk, you kind of had to turn sideways and kind of narrowly pass them, so when one person didn't get knocked off the path. Like I said, the sidewalk was that wide at that time. And this older gentleman happened to have an umbrella. Very typical in China at the time because, well, being tan is bad. Being pasty white is good. And so therefore, yes, he had himself an umbrella to keep the sun off. His red umbrella, unfortunately, did kind of prohibit both of us passing on the sidewalk at the same time. So as I went to pass him, his umbrella scratched me right there on the cheek twice. Another day and age, I would have been a really funky Frenchman with my new cutting mustache. But I wasn't so impressed, actually. I was kind of full of myself. I had a chip on my shoulder about that big. So I turned around and very politely, showing the courtesy that only an American can, I cursed him. I was 16 years old and pretty dumb. He smiled at me. Probably didn't understand a word I said. And he continued on. Well, of course, I wasn't going to have this, and so I went after him to let him know that I didn't appreciate this. I grabbed him on the shoulder, pulled him around to let him know exactly what I thought. Not a good idea. As I pulled him on the shoulder to turn around, he come back around with a fist. Nailed me right upside the jaw, and down I went. Right in a big rice paddy full of cow manure and God knows what else. Sploosh. Yeah, I wasn't happy with it, but I learned my lesson. No, I didn't. I hadn't learned my lesson at all. I got up. Okay, old man, it's on. It's on, old man. I went back after him, completely covered in poop. I had long since dropped my book bag. And I went after this old guy to teach him a lesson. He wronged me. In retrospect, I was a lot bigger than he was. I was a lean cut American guy. He was a small little Chinese guy. And when I grabbed him on the shoulder, he probably thought I was trying to fight him or something. Who knows? Point being, I shouldn't put my hand on an old man. You should never put your hand on anyone. Bad manners. But I went after him again because I was in the right. Or so I thought. I went back after him, grabbed him by the shoulder again, and jerked him around to let him know exactly how I felt. He hit me again, harder. Right there. Knocked me about 5 feet back, right face first in the rice paddies with all that poop. Yay me. 2 times down, I learned my lesson, right? Nah, not really. Boy, I shot up out of there completely covered head to toe in cow poop and smelling about the same, and I went back after him. Okay, old man, that's it. You got your 2 free licks in. It's on. We're going to fight. I went after him just cussing as loud as I can, and I get up to him. I grab him by the shoulder because I learned my lesson the first 2 times, by God. Whipped him around, and as God is my witness to this day, I don't know how, what sort of Houdini trick he pulled. The umbrella was gone. And in its place, the guy's holding a staff that's about, I don't know, 10 feet long. I'm exaggerating, of course. I'm sure it was not more than 7. But he was holding a big old staff, big old stick, like a bamboo staff. And that old dude, that old codger, proceeded to work me over. Up, down, one side, down the other. And I just remember, vaguely, feeling, oh no, I got hit on my leg, my knee, my side, my neck. And then I'm looking at the sky. And I'm just looking up at the sky thinking, wow, those clouds are really beautiful. And the sun seems lower. And how long have I been laying here? I don't know. All I know is my head was now up on the sidewalk. And my book bag with my books, my Discman, because that was pretty valuable back in the early 90s, my wallet with all my money and everything is just sitting right there, right next to me. I dropped it probably 40 feet back by this point. And I know I went head first in that mud, but somebody dragged me and put my head up on the sidewalk so I didn't drown. I have no idea how long I was unconscious for, but let's just say it was probably a little while. That old guy was nowhere to be seen. It's been 25 years, and I've never seen him since. But you know, I kind of felt like that old dude did me a favor. There's no chip on my shoulder anymore. And honestly, I learned a lesson, quite a few at that point. One, don't go picking fights. It's kind of stupid. Number 2, have a little cultural understanding. Because that time I was 16, young, dumb, and full of stuff, and I had no idea how the world works. All I knew was somebody scratched me and I wanted retribution. Wrongly. You didn't mean to. And I also learned that you should sooner pick a fight with any gun-wielding, chain-swinging gang member than a little old man in China, because those are the guys that'll hurt you. I was out of school for about a week afterwards, black and blue, feeling sick. They counted like over 40 welts all over my body. And I always felt like every time I walked that village, a little Chinese village called Dai Tao Ling, I always felt like that old dude was watching me. I don't know why. I never saw him again. To this day, I don't know if he died or is still living somewhere. Who knows? But you know what? I gotta feel like I had that coming. And I gotta feel like he did me a favor. Because you know what? Boy, I just respect some older people now. And I gotta say, it takes a lot of humility, of course, but I was wrong. And I learned really to respect people that day. And I hope maybe you learned something too. Anyway, as a quick story from the annuals of Snarkdom, I hope you guys enjoyed it. As with everything else, stay frosty. Well, that didn't end so well. Well, I guess that's another snarky tale waiting to happen there. I wonder if I'll be held responsible.